He was born and raised in Britain, but Canon Andrew White is better known as the Vicar of Baghdad for his incredible work with the persecuted Christians of Iraq. He's had his life threatened by ISIS and has lived for years with MS, but that has not stopped Canon White from traveling to some of the world's most dangerous regions to give voice to the voiceless. I sat down with him recently at Patrick Henry College near Washington, D.C. to discuss his amazing work and the persecuted church in the Middle East. Take a look. You have been on the ground, Canon White. You were the Vicar of Baghdad for many years. You're on the ground. You're with the Iraqi people. Can you talk about some of the horrific effects of that ISIS onslaught in Iraq, in the cradle of Christianity, birthplace of the faith?
A lot of the Christians, many of my community, they fled back to their homeland. And their home was actually Nineveh, the place where the miserable evangelist came by submarine.
His name was Jonah.
Yeah. And my Yonah, St. Jonah, is very big in the Iraqi Christian community. Jonah is one of the biggest people. Jonah, Daniel, and Ezekiel. They fled there because they thought it would be safer than Baghdad. And the first place ISIS went to was the Christian city of Nineveh. Nineveh is basically Mosul. Yes, we hear about the backlash and what the army and the US forces are even doing to try and cover Mosul. But it is Nineveh that most of the people are attracted to.
Great biblical significance, like you said.
And so much heritage and great archaeological and architectural things, all been destroyed. And then the people fled Nineveh. I said, I will not leave you, don't you leave me. But then I was made to leave. They all left their lives and went to Nineveh. And then I went to Jordan. And when I arrived in Jordan, suddenly all my own people were coming to Jordan. They were fleeing Nineveh. And in Jordan, we now have established a very big, vibrant Iraqi community with a school, a clinic, a relief program, food aid, water, healthcare, education.
Tell this American Christian audience what is happening to their brothers and sisters in Christ in the Middle East right now as we speak.
So many of our people have been massacred, killed, their homes destroyed, their businesses destroyed. See, the Christians were the intellectual elite. They were the key leaders of the nation. And suddenly they have lost everything. A great friend of mine was the professor of endocrinology in Mosul. His home has been destroyed, his cars have all been taken, everything he worked for, his hospital, clinic, all blown up. They have nothing.
Murdered, tortured, enslaved by ISIS, by the jihadists. Is there any intention or any desire, Canon White, for those Iraqis, some of those Iraqis who fled, to, if ISIS, God willing, is cleared out of Iraq? Or
they will never go back. They all say, I haven't met one Iraqi who has said they're willing to go back. What they suffered and what they endured was so terrible, they will never, ever return.
And this included young children. I've heard some of your stories, Canon White. These are first-hand accounts you're giving us of your contacts, your friends, your family members on the ground.
I have 7 adopted Iraqi children, only 2 English children, 7 Iraqi children. So many of these people are my people. The Voice of the Martyrs came to visit us one week. and they could not believe how happy everything was. They came to the church and they said, "This is the happiest church that we have ever seen." And they said to one of my adopted daughters, "How can you be so happy when you've got rockets flying over and bombs going off and your people being blown up?" And she turned round to them and said, "When you've lost everything, Jesus is all you've got left." So we had lost everything, but not Jesus. He was always there.
Folks, what an honor it was to interview Canon White. He is an inspiration, and God has used him mightily to touch millions of lives. Well, up next, my final thoughts on what Iran's dangerous moves in the Middle East mean for Israel and for you. Stick around.